إلينا الآن افتراضياً عن بعد صاحبة السمو الملكي الأميرة سمية بنت الحسن، وسمو الأميرة هي رئيس مجلس أمناء جامعة الأميرة سمية للتكنولوجيا، أيضاً هي رئيس الجمعية العلمية الملكية ونائب رئيس مجلس أمناء متحف الأردن. كذلك تم تعيين سمو الأميرة كمبعوث لليونسكو الخاص للعلم من أجل السلم من قبل المدير العام لليونسكو.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على النبي العربي الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Your Excellency Dr. Mustafa Nadbouli, Prime Minister of Egypt, Your Excellency Dr. Mohammed Abdel Ati, Minister of Water Resources and Irrigation in Egypt, Ms. Maria Selin, Head of Regional Development Corporation in MENA and from Sweden, Mr. Loic Fauchon, President of the World Water Council, Mr. Gilbert, Chair of the UN-WATER Chair, President of the International Fund for Agricultural Development, Dr. Abdel Hakim Elwer, Assistant Director General and Regional Representative of the FAO, the Near East and North Africa region, and Dr. Rula Dashti, Under-Secretary General, Executive Secretary of United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Western Asia, ESCWA, and Mr. Liu Zhenmin, Under-Secretary General for Economic and Social Affairs of the United Nations. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is a very great honor for me to join you virtually at Cairo Water Week 2021, and especially to contribute to this high-level session on policy dialogues in water-scarce countries for achieving SDGs. I commend the Egyptian Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation and everyone who has contributed to a novel and innovative structure for this meeting, one that I have no doubt will stimulate collaboration and channel policy initiatives from which we may all benefit. It is indeed no exaggeration to say that water is fundamental to all our lives, our livelihoods, and the future of our planet. Without it, there is nothing. And without careful, considered, and collaborative management of this most precious resource, sustainable and peaceful development will remain a mere dream, tantalizing yet unattainable. Of course, we have understood the challenges for many years, but as we considered and consulted, those challenges have increased and multiplied. Our rapidly rising populations, the challenges of multiple and massive migration movements, the deterioration of natural and environmental resources, climate variations, and a raft of other interconnected factors place increasing and unprecedented pressure on our water reserves and our water scarcity. And as we work together today and in the future, across borders and disciplines, we must keep to the forefront of our minds that water flows to the very heart of our future as a human family. To treat water challenges with fairness and equality to the fore is to value the other and to cherish our shared home. Indeed, if we are to survive in peace on our planet, then we may only view water as a central element of that peace, a common need and a shared right that helps to define our humanity. In our context, as in many others, we urgently need a spirit of regional and interregional cooperation so that we may adequately address the complex water challenges that we must inevitably face together. And Agenda 2030 must underpin everything. Its aims must be our only ideology, and its goals our sole focus. Indeed, the SDGs are a prime output of that critical and collegiate structure that is the UN system. There is no doubt that the multilateral infrastructure which it carries so boldly has come under severe pressure in recent years. But I believe we can all agree that conversations have continued and our collegiate spirit has prospered. We are, and we must be, united. In our interlinked and interdependent world, there can be no isolated solution to one of our greatest challenges. For if we are truly committed to eradicating poverty and to meeting so many of our Agenda 2030 targets, we must acknowledge the vital need for water security. Indeed, failure to do so may result in interactions and trade-offs within the agenda that will inevitably lead to suboptimal or even adverse outcomes. I believe it is vital that science and research must be used creatively and across disciplines to design and monitor sets of actions that consider a range of interlinkages. Indeed, the integration of systems thinking and uniting the full array of science disciplines in a comprehensive methodology that considers from the outset the interlinkages between SDGs is now crucial. This is particularly so in the case of SDG 6, which reaches far beyond water and sanitation. I believe it is sometimes difficult for diverse people on our planet to fully understand each other's language of water. For so many, it is expressed as an immediate and desperate need, hard won, if one at all, through care and effort. For many others in more developed settings, so much of the water they consume is hidden beyond their domestic use to produce food, energy, goods, and services. It is expended to feed all of our consumption, and we have not learned yet, as individuals and as nations, to assess, own, and account for that diverse and unseen flow of consumption. In our own region, our challenges are particularly acute. Indeed, water security is a daily and immediate challenge for so many families and individuals. Our nations must ensure that we share our burden of concern so that we may create a more just and durable narrative of consumption for all. The Arab Sustainable Development Report, published by ESQA in 2020, called for the urgent enhancement of intra-regional and inter-regional coordination in the Arab region to enhance and empower efforts to end poverty, SDG 1, and hunger, SDG 2. All of this is, of course, dependent on access to energy, SDG 7, and is increasingly influenced by climate change, SDG 13, and increasingly becomes a key factor in determining what constitutes a slum, SDG 11, in a region where most of our people now live in cities and urban peripheries. Access to sustainable and affordable water and sanitation services is vital to making meaningful our dream of healthy lives for citizens, SDG 3. With disparities between water security and health being particularly acute for people who are vulnerable or economically disadvantaged in both rural and urban communities. Ladies and gentlemen, water flows through all of our gravest challenges, and water will determine how each of these SDGs may be meaningfully addressed and understood. These water-dependent interlinkages have become ever more urgent in our Arab region, as 18 of the 22 Arab states have now fallen below the renewable freshwater resources scarcity threshold of 1,000 cubic meters per capita per year. 13 have fallen below the absolute freshwater scarcity threshold of 500 cubic meters per capita per year. Of those 22 Arab states, some 14 share a surface water basin with one or more riparian states representing 60% of the region's water resources. We urgently need diplomacy, innovation, goodwill, and honesty to save ourselves. If we are to achieve our aims and to fulfill the mission that Agenda 2030 has so rightly set for us, then we must act without prejudice or doubt. We must act with faith and confidence in our human ability to achieve great things when we face a challenge with openness and honesty, and when we support innovative dialogue and determined innovation. And we must succeed only when we embrace our common humanity within and between communities and insist on a human rights-based approach to water and sanitation, along with robust water governance structures within and between states. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, our challenges are as interlinked as our destinies, and we must inevitably rise or fall together. This is a supreme challenge indeed. However, I must believe that we will all rise to it. الأخوات والإخوة، إن تحقيق الهدف السادس من أهداف التنمية المستدامة لا يمكن أن يتم من دون نظرة شمولية عبر جميع الأهداف المتداخلة. فلا بد من تطوير أدوات علمية تساعد صناع القرار من ترتيب الأولويات ذات العلاقة بأهداف التنمية المستدامة، كما أنه بات من الضروري العمل على تطوير سياسات متكاملة تربط مؤشرات أهداف التنمية المستدامة، لا سيما عند الحديث عن المياه، والتي ترتبط ارتباطاً وثيقاً بالطاقة والغذاء والتغيير المناخي والنظم البيئية وغيرها. ففي الختام أتقدم مرة أخرى بخالص الشكر وعظيم العرفان إلى فخامة الرئيس محمد السيسي رعاه الله لرعايته لهذا الأسبوع، والشكر موصول لكم جميعاً أيتها السيدات والسادة، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.